guys, Manny with Tidy Sticky Mama here, and we are back for my challenge progress on week 6 of the 8-week KonMari tidying challenge. Now, I didn't shoot a separate intro for this one because I figured I could just talk over day 1, which is, as usual, gathering stuff up. This was really simple for me this week because, for the most part, my sentimental goods are in these 3 tubs, so all I had to do was grab and go. Skipping ahead to day 38 with the journals, letters, and heirlooms because day 37 was about developing your gratitude ritual for thanking the things that you'll be discarding. And for me, that was down pat a long time ago. I'll demonstrate it and talk a little bit more about it later in this segment. But what we have here is my collection of closed journals, which are the ones that I have filled and finished. And not a single one of them is leaving because I love them. Okay, this is my personal history back to about 12 or 13, and I actually do look through them periodically to compare where I am now to where I was 2, 5, 7 years ago. It's pretty cool. After my journals, I hit the correspondence, which besides that small stack of letters there and this printout of old IM conversations, because I'm that level of nerd, the bulk of this category is in my greeting card stash, which, if you remember, is supposed to be part of the paper category, but I get really sentimental about them, as you can tell by this big stack of my children's greeting cards. So I punted them over here into the sentimental category. I'm not going to share most of the footage though, because I don't want anyone to feel bad if I decided to throw out a card that they had given me and they're watching this video. That's just kind of awkward. I have these sweet little memory boxes for 2 of my children, and parents of multiple children can probably relate to me on this. This is for my 2nd and 3rd born children, but my firstborn has this big old box, and now it's not quite as disparate as it looks because some of the things in there are things that are for all the children, like their baptismal gown they've all worn or the baby's first Christmas stocking. And I've got a bunch of her ornaments that she got before she had siblings in there, and those take up a lot of space, but I wanted to take this time to kind of even it out a little bit and put her first year memories in a box like her siblings have, rather than this big old thing, and actually put it somewhere I'm going to look through it, rather than just leave it kind of hanging out under my bed. That's part of this week's challenge too, making sure that we're actually appreciating the sentimental items in our lives that spark joy, and not just, leaving them to languish in the attic or basement or crammed under the bed. I don't really have much in the way of actual heirlooms, so I figured that this was the best place for me to handle these sorts of things, the things that are sentimental to me revolving around my children and things that I have kept from earlier in their lives. A little bit of Tetris involved here. There, much more joy sparking. I keep a stash of hand-me-downs between kids. Now, I don't keep every single thing that my kids wear, but I do keep my favorites. The reason I'm doing the sorting out here is that these are the last couple of sizes that my son outgrew. And the closer the article of clothing is to having actually been worn by the child, the more attached to it I am. I know my mamas feel me on this one. And some things can be difficult to get rid of, especially if it's something that's been worn by multiple children. Like this sweet little romper right here. Here I am giving it one last good squeeze and a sniff for the baby smell. I need to say thank you and goodbye because that has been worn by all 3 of my children, but it's just getting worn out and it needs to go. So I made sure to give it a good thank you for its service because it has been good to us and I want to be respectful to it as I'm saying goodbye. I make a habit of going through my kids' clothes stash fairly regularly. I don't do it like every week or every month or anything, but every time somebody outgrows a size and goes into the next one, I kind of poke through the bins and make sure that things are still doing okay. Part of that is that, like I said earlier, the longer it's been since something has been worn, the easier it is for me to let go of it. The other thing that makes it easier to let go is when I have someone in mind to give the hand-me-downs to. Now, I don't have any little boys to hand the hand-me-downs off to yet, but I do have a niece who is freaking adorable, and she loves getting clothes from her Aunt Mandy. So I know that those clothes will be just as loved in their next home as they have been in this one. It's like getting to watch those memories get a whole second chance, you know? Day 39 is photos. Now, mine are mostly digital and fairly well categorized, as you can see, but that doesn't mean that I can't get rid of a few. If you're nervous about deleting photos, I recommend starting with something fairly low risk, like I'm starting with pictures of my cats, and this one picture of my grandma's cat that I totally don't need. But maybe go through your phone and find all the pictures where your kids have taken pictures of their toes 50 times or something like that. Something where you know it is backed up and you are not at all concerned about it being permanently gone. Like, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over this extra photo of my cat Veda. Now, some pictures I will keep multiple poses of because photography is kind of like a side hobby of mine, so I'm pretty proud of it when I get a good shot. But those are basically the same pose of the cat, and I don't need them both. Now, while we are, of course, always sorting for joy and keep everything that sparks, like this adorable toddler face, how could you not love that? But at the same time, you want to kind of be on the lookout for duplicates and things that are just objectively a bad photo. You know, it's blurry, it's too dark to even tell what you're taking a picture of, or things where maybe you've got a day's worth of pictures and you've got pictures in there that don't necessarily add anything to the story that you're trying to tell with them. Like these pictures of my kids playing on top of their table. You know, I don't need this picture because I have the one before it. I know which onesie she's wearing, so the one with the cupcake butt can totally just go. Now, significant events are the most likely to have duplicate pictures, like birthdays or family reunions, or I'm a big offender when it comes to Christmas time. because we do so many events. I end up with so many pictures of the kids just doing basically the same thing. So like the tree pictures, I have, what is that, 5 or 6 different tree pictures that are all pretty much the same. I can weed those out some. Now, I might not be able to get one where they are all looking at me and the tree is centered and everything, but I could still find some that spark joy, you know? 2 out of 3 ain't bad as far as them looking at the camera, right? Oh, look, there's 3 of 3. 2 of 3 again. We'll get there. One of the places I get hung up a lot is when I have pictures of my kids playing and I have like one action shot and one looking at me shot. Now, trying to keep things that just tell the story of that day, I should get rid of them. But if they both spark joy, I should keep them because that's the whole thing, right? It's what sparks joy. So even if it's something that objectively you know you should get rid of, if it just plain makes you happy, keep it. Okay, so day 40 was souvenirs, trophies, and memorabilia, which is kind of a weird menage in a way, but for me it worked out great because that stuff was all crammed together for me. And then there was this kind of straggly box that both housed like important papers like our birth certificates and then just all of this random stuff. So I had to sort through that because I knew a lot of it was sentimental type stuff. That used to be like my special things box where I kept all that ephemera that just floated through. And there's, you know, some letters from high school and ticket stubs from things I've gone to and just some random little treasures that I found and decided to keep for. I don't know what's up with that Cadillac hood ornament. I have no idea what the story is behind it. Honestly, no idea. So, I mean, I was kind of a weird kid and I'm still a weird adult. So that's probably the whole story there. Okay, did any other 90s kids make like a crap load of those lizards back in the day? I don't know about you, but those things were hot in my school. Like, there were people that had like 10 of them on their backpacks, and it was a thing. This card right here is one of my prized possessions. It's from my grandfather for my high school graduation, and it's one of the few things that I have his handwriting on. He was never very verbal with his affection, but I knew he always had my back, even when we were disagreeing. So onto those bins that you saw in the very beginning, starting with my stuffed animal and doll collection. Yes, I'm an adult. Some of these are not strictly mine, like those wind-up ones off to the side, and I'll just put those aside because those belong to my daughters and not me. But the rest of them are mine, and not all of them acquired in childhood. The penguins in particular, several were acquired as an adult because I really like penguins and I find it really difficult to pass one up, especially when it's, you know, from a trip. That little gray baby one on the side there in particular is from my husband and my delayed honeymoon to Chicago, and I picked him up at the Shed Aquarium. So the survivors. And yes, I remember all of their names. So on to more toys. The contents of this box are a little more varied though. Some of these things I've held on to specifically intending to give them to my children when they're of an appropriate age. In particular, those gorgeous Barbie dresses off to the side there were handmade by my grandmother for me as a Christmas gift one year, and I love them. I am so excited to be able to share those with my kids, both out of the love I had for them, the love I have for the woman that made them for me, and just that joy that I had playing with them over and over and over again. I want to share that. And if they don't ever want to play with Barbies, that's okay. I will keep those for the grandkids. Some of these things are very obviously not toys too, like these pins or this box that's all shells and rocks from various adventures throughout the years, my t-shirt from my elementary school, and a collection of coins that are all from the year I was born that my grandfather mounted for me. And then there's my Science Olympiad medals, which I am not getting rid of because I earned those with my giant nerd brain, and no way are they going anywhere. Should probably see if these vintage PlayStation 1 memory cards are worth anything though. And hey, Gigapets. This box, while I played with it when I was a kid, is obviously not mine, and I'm going to need to check in with my mom and see if she wants that back. This headband is one of my few actual heirlooms, and I need to put it someplace better than where it's been, for sure. I did actually open up that jewelry box and go through it too, but screwed up the footage, so sorry guys, it gets to remain a mystery. This bin is where I kept a lot of my kind of paper-based memorabilia. Now obviously a couple of those things are not paper, but they didn't really fit in the other one, so there they went. The rest of it though, yeah, it's stuff that I definitely need to get some sort of scrapbook going for a lot of it, which thankfully is the last day of this challenge this week. Maybe a couple different scrapbooks actually, because I kind of have it sorted into like high school versus college versus like the rest of my adult life, but it is all still kind of hanging out together and very subject to get mixed up, as you can tell with my frantic sorting here. I did actually end up using this folder right here to kind of put my more childhood things in, things that weren't from like high school, but were maybe things I did in elementary or middle school, and that worked out okay, I think. Ended up making kind of the obvious choice that I didn't need to keep the entire newspaper and just cutting out the pages that had what I did want on it. Like my mom, for some reason, gave me the newspaper for the graduation of the class of 2006, which I was class of 2007, but I took a lot of my classes the year ahead, so they were kind of my classmates, but I mean, that doesn't mean I need the whole newspaper about them graduating, you know? And I know that's a thing that like previous generations did, where like you kept the newspaper from a significant date, and to some extent I understand that because it gives historical context to things, which is why I did keep the entire paper that you saw earlier from September 12th, you know, and yeah, but there's no reason for me to keep that huge bulk of paper when I'm really only interested in a couple of things from the inside. Alright, all sorted, and it's back into the bin. Temporarily, anyway. Day 41 was a chance to display our sentimental items like works of art. I already have a couple places I do that. This is a shelf in my bedroom that has a lot of sentimental things relating to my husband and I and our marriage. And then I have our gallery wall down our basement stairs here, which is where I do kind of a rotating collection of my children's art. We do also keep some things on the fridge, but things from the fridge are typically short term because it gets cluttered really fast, and I can't deal with it being just a mass of kids' artwork all the time. And this provides a place where the kids themselves see it and they get to be like, oh, those are my flowers on the wall, when they go down to play in the basement, or when they go get their stuff out of the cubby, or even when we're just walking out that door. It's a nice little pick-me-up for what otherwise would be a wall full of wasted space. And like I said, it is a rotating gallery, so what I'm doing here is pulling out some of the pieces that have been there a while and adding some new ones in. My youngest started preschool this year, and as I'm sure my fellow parents can attest, that means a massive influx of art projects, and they're starting to kind of crowd the place up. But they're adorable, and she's very proud of them, and I want to make sure that I give them the honor of being displayed properly, so here they go. Everything is getting hung up using the sticky tack from the Dollar Tree. It's like that blue poster adhesive stuff that you probably remember from elementary school, and it does a pretty good job even on this weird textured wall. I haven't had anything fall down yet, so it's a good deal for $1. Ta-da! All those cute little works of art up and displayed like they deserve. So the last day we're supposed to make a scrapbook, but the first step to that is finding one that sparks joy. And frankly, I'm really picky, so this one is probably gonna take me a while. But I kind of started peeking around online to get an idea of what I like so that I can be more sure of what I'm looking for when I do go looking. For stuff that's not necessarily scrapbookable, I like these boxes, and you can find them at most major craft stores in a variety of sizes. Usually they're on sale like once a month pretty much everywhere. It seems like Michaels right now has rolled out most of their Christmas designs, but year-round you can usually find some just solid ones and other designs if you're not into whatever holiday happens to be out at that moment. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for me so that you can see week 7 and the other cool stuff on the channel. And let me know down in the comments what sentimental thing you'll never let go of. We all have our treasures, right? Bye guys. See you next time.